Chewy, are you a YouTube sensation? Huh? Can you say hello for the camera? Hi guys, so today I just wanted to do a video, as you can see from the title, about anxiety. And I put the title as Anxiety, My Enemy and Yours with a question mark because I feel like since I started YouTube and since I've been talking to more people online, I've found that a lot more people than I thought were suffering from anxiety, as I have been probably most of my life. But I just wanted to not ramble too much, but it's probably going to end up that way. Just kind of talk about things, get things off my chest, and see if anybody else out there can relate to what I'm going through. So my anxiety started when I was young. I want to say maybe early teens. And it was really mild, and I didn't know what it was at the time. I just noticed that when I was going places, say I had to go to a concert or go to meet somebody or go to a store that I had never been to before, I would kind of get a little worked up about it, and I needed to have a game plan. So I was like, okay, I'm going to this concert. I'm going to be driving there. I need the directions. Now back then, we printed out directions. We didn't have GPS or anything like that. So I would print out, I'm like, I got my directions. I need to get ready at this time. I need to be done by this time. I need to leave the house by this time. And even being on the highway driving to the place, I'd be like, okay, the exit's coming up in a mile. I need to get off. I should probably switch lanes in a minute or so I can make sure that I get off, I don't get stuck, and I miss the exit. So it was little things like that, and I thought I was just being kind of I don't know, anal about different things, but as I got older, I kind of realized it was an anxiety issue. When I was in my early 20s and I moved into my own apartment, I have issues in my past I don't really talk about with growing up and things like that. So a lot of things had gotten to me, and I think it had become very overwhelming to the point where I just kind of had a breakdown, and then the anxiety kicked in full force. And again, I didn't really know what it was. I was like, what's wrong with me? But this time it was more, I felt a weight on my chest. I felt like I couldn't breathe. When I would go places, I was like, I gotta get out of here. I can't be in here. I was really antsy. And then I had gone to the doctor, and she was like, it sounds like you're suffering from anxiety. So she had recommended some medication for me, and I think at the time I didn't want to take it. So I kind of tried to do it on my own, and I was still having issues. And then I tried the medication for a while, and I think that I don't really remember that part of my life too well. I think that I was like, I don't want to be on this, so I took myself off of it. And I started to manage my anxiety myself, but I wouldn't say in a healthy way. Before I would be going someplace, I don't know, to meet up with friends, or like I said, to a concert, I would drink. I would have a beer. I was like, all right, I need to have this beer to calm me down. And I did that for a really long time, and I didn't have problems with anxiety. And I mean, that's not the right way to do it. Be like, okay, I need to get, buzzed off alcohol in order to be able to go out and socialize with people, or not be, paranoid when I'm driving someplace. I mean, you shouldn't drink and drive anyways. I wasn't drunk. I would literally have one beer to calm me down, and then I would go out. So it wasn't until I got Lyme disease, everything just went way downhill from there. I went from being totally fine with my anxiety. I had managed it. I don't even think I was really drinking anymore at this point. So when I got Lyme disease, this was probably about 4 or 5 years ago, then things got really, really, really bad. I I think until that point, I was managing it, and I wasn't drinking much anymore, and I was basically like fine. I think that I was happy in my life, and I didn't think about it as much, so I kind of had it under control. But then when I got the Lyme, it was horrible. I wasn't sleeping at nighttime. I constantly was like, oh my God, my life is over. Like, what's going to happen to me? Because I was in rough shape when I had Lyme the first like couple of years. I was basically in bed and I couldn't really do anything. I couldn't get out. I was in constant pain. I was exhausted all the time. Like, just to take a shower was horrible. Like, I hated it. So as a result of the Lyme, I think it caused a lot of people not to be able to sleep at nighttime. And I don't know if it was that for me, if it was the Lyme or if it was the Lyme and the anxiety together. But my doctor had given me medication. It's called Ativan. And I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's basically a pill you take when you're out somewhere and you're having a panic attack that just comes on, and you take it and it's supposed to like even you out and calm you down. It's not a daily medication to take, or they don't really like people to take it every single day because it's addictive. And I couldn't sleep at night, so I was taking it every single night. And I just remember one night I was pet sitting over somebody's house and I had forgotten my medication, and I was like, oh, I don't need it. I'll be able to sleep. And at this point, I didn't know I was addicted to it. And I thought I was going to die. Like, my heart was racing. I was like, felt like I was losing my mind. It's so hard to explain if you don't have anxiety attacks. And I feel like they might be different for different people. But for me, when I had the Lyme disease, it was the worst. And then it developed into something more just being like, a little, like anxious about going someplace or doing something. It was like, oh my, I'm going to die. Like, what am I going to do with myself? I would lay in bed and be like, oh my God, oh my God. It's so hard to explain, but I would say it's probably one of the worst feelings in the world. And I've explained this to people before with like the Lyme. I had like joint pain. I was tired all the time. I had horrible headaches. I had blurred vision. I was like forgetting things. And I had anxiety. Out of everything, I would take all that crap and say that all those bad things were not as bad as having the anxiety. Like, that was the one thing that I felt was like the worst. I was like, you could like, I don't know, like stab me in the leg and I'd be like, okay. But like, if you were like, you have to have this anxiety all the time and have that feeling all the time, I would have probably lost my mind. It's horrible. Like, I don't even know how else to explain it. It's just full on panic, and you feel like the world is like just coming down on you. So this happened to me when I was in somebody else's home pet sitting overnight. I was sleeping over there and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I had to have my husband come pick me up, and I was like, I'm freaking out. Take me home. I had to get the medication, and then I was fine. But then I realized I'm addicted to this stuff and this is not good. I need to figure out a way to manage this better than having to rely on like this pill that you're not supposed to take all the time, because if you don't take it, then it brings on the anxiety. So I talked to my doctor and she's like, you need to wean yourself off of it, and you need to take a daily anxiety medication. It's anxiety and depression medication that is meant to be taken every day. And I've always been hesitant on taking like a daily medication. Like, I had taken it in the past, I wasn't happy with it, and then they wanted to put me on the same thing. It's called Celexa, but I take the generic form. It's citalopram, and I was like, I don't know, I don't want to rely on pills, and I didn't know what other effects it was going to have on me. So it was like really scary to make this decision. So it was like basically, deal with anxiety or take pills to manage it and have a better life. So I was slowly weaning myself off of the addictive Ativan and starting to take the daily dose of the Celexa. So I found that after a while, I was totally off the Ativan. The Celexa was working for me like great. It has been working for me great. I still do have like moments when I freak out and have like a mild panic attack, or even like before I leave the house I will. And my whole thing with when I got the Lyme and I was going out to do things, it was like I would go out and there was a couple times where I fainted. And then it's like on your mind. I'm like, oh my God, and when I go out now, am I gonna faint? Like, what's gonna happen to me? So I still am. I'm scared to go places by myself. I'll go to the grocery store or like, to the store to pick something up. But if you ask me to travel far or, go someplace that I haven't been to before, I can't do it. Whatever had happened to me with all the anxiety attacks in the past, in the situations that I was in, I can't do it anymore. I need somebody there with me, because I'm afraid, like, okay, if I faint and I fall on the ground, like, who's going to find me? Like, what's going to happen to me? So I kind of need somebody there for me to kind of, like, give me, like, mental support and probably physical support if anything were to happen to me. It was just, it's so overwhelming. It's an awful thing to live with, and that's why I feel horrible knowing that there's more people out there who are suffering from anxiety like I am. And I had no idea that many people had a problem with it. I kind of felt alone. I had like one friend who had the same issue as me, and that was it. I remember we went to like a concert a few years ago, and I was like, oh my God, I gotta get out of here. We were in the balcony, and everybody was jumping up and down. It was really crowded. The balcony was shaking, and I felt bad, but I was like, I can't sit here anymore. I was like, I need to go in the hallway. And she was like, oh, I don't blame you. She's like, this is freaking me out. The balcony is shaking. She's like, it's giving me anxiety. So, it made me feel good that somebody could relate to me, but I felt horrible that she was feeling the same thing as I was. And now talking to people online, it just really amazes me that so many people have this issue, and I had no clue. And when I hear people's stories, or when they tell me about, how they're feeling, it's just like, dude, I know what you're going through. And like, I want to be there for them to give them support, but I know it's just like somebody saying something to you like, okay, it'll be all right, just like, breathe, this and that. Like, it's not enough. Like, but some people can manage it on their own. That's the thing. Like, I needed medication. I couldn't do it. Like, I fought it for so long, and I was like, I can't do this. I couldn't. I needed help. So I went on the medication, and I'm glad that I did. And, I think it's great that some people can just manage it on their own. I really wish that I could. I'm hoping someday that I can. Like, maybe my Lyme will get a little bit better and better and better. And I won't feel as horrible, and I can do it myself. But until that time comes, I need the help, and I need to do it so I can live my life. I don't want to miss out on things and be stuck in my house all the time because of this condition that I have. Now, some of the things that I've noticed that have made my anxiety worse are caffeine. I cannot drink caffeine. I can't have coffee, like tea, soda. Everything has to be decaffeinated, or I can't have it. I can't have B12 vitamins, anything with it, like a supplement or anything like that. That gives me anxiety, makes my heart race. And I also can't have antihistamines, things like Benadryl. That does like the same thing. Sometimes it does the opposite to people, where they tell people take Benadryl, makes you drowsy and it'll make you fall asleep if you're not sleeping. But no, it had the complete opposite effect on me, and I had a full-on panic attack when that happened. Things that I have tried, and they didn't really work for me. I wish that they had. It was more natural means. I did acupuncture, and I did that for a while. And I really, really just wanted to believe that it was doing something, and It just wasn't. I also, you know, I'll do yoga and stuff. That's more just to kind of like mellow myself out. And that, I mean, that helps a little bit, but in the long run, it doesn't really do much. I did hypnosis for anxiety. That didn't work at all. I really thought that I was gonna like sit in the chair and I was gonna be like out like that, and she was gonna put a thought in my head and make me like not have anxiety anymore. That didn't happen. I was like sitting in a chair and she just kind of was like telling me like relaxing things and trying to like, you know, bring you down and say, oh, you don't need to worry about this and that. Like put yourself in a peaceful place. And I was like, when am I gonna like go under or not know what's going on? I was like, nothing's happening. I felt like I was just being told a bedtime story. But I think it's worked for other people. I know a friend of mine, she saw a hypnotist for a fear that she had, and she said she was cured. It didn't work for me at all. So like I was willing to try anything to get rid of this. A friend of mine gave me a book about anxiety. I think it was like somebody's life and how they dealt with it and what they went through. I was literally reading the book, and the guy was going over what had happened to him when he was having his freakouts, when he was out and stuff. That reading the book gave me anxiety. I was like, I can't read this anymore. I had to stop. I think I got like a quarter of the way through, and I was like, I couldn't even hear about what this man was going through because it was like, you know, getting to me so much and then bringing on my own anxiety. It's just, I think I'm just so sensitive to things. And I wish I wasn't that way. It's awful. The only downside about being on the medication that I'm on is I feel like it kind of made me lazy, or kind of like almost like detached, like, and not as motivated as I used to be. Like I used to really like to do a lot of like DIYs and write music. I used to write poetry. I just stopped doing everything. I was like, I just didn't want to do it anymore. And that's the only thing that I really feel bad about with being on this medication. I wish that was different. I know I just need to kind of like pick myself up and make myself do it and get back into the routine of it. But it's just hard sometimes. YouTube helps me. Like, I mean, it helps me to get things out and to be able to talk. And like, I mean, even serious matters, goofy matters. I like goofing around with you guys and just doing fun stuff like, you know, makeup stuff or stupid challenge videos, tag videos, showing off like my metal t-shirts or, you know, things like that. It's just fun to do and not try to have yourself be in this like down, like I don't want to do anything type of, you know, behavior all the time. I've since I've started YouTube, I feel so much better because I don't get out that much. You know, so it's difficult for me with my health and things like that, and this has really helped me a lot. So I appreciate you guys watching all my videos and giving me motivation to do more, because it really does mean a lot to me, more than people probably think. They're probably like, oh, it's the YouTube channel, whatever, this girl's just yapping about something. But it really does help me when people comment and, you know, give me their opinions and things like that. I kind of feel like part of the world again, where I felt like so detached because of being stuck here because of the Lyme disease and because of going out with the anxiety. So I feel like this is going on and on and on. I think there was more things that I wanted to talk about with you guys. Oh, I know another thing was as far as like natural means of feeling better. I know I had purchased a bunch of like crystals. There's like a local store here. It's really cool. They sell a lot of like crystals and candles and things like, and, you know, incense and things like that. And I had bought some, and like I don't really know too much about like crystals. Like I know people really get into it, but I just bought them and I was like, maybe this will help me. And I would just take them and I know each one means like a different thing, and I would just rub them between my fingers when I would start feeling like anxiety coming on. And I would try to get like a mind over matter thing to happen, and sometimes it helped, and other times it wasn't working for me. But if anybody knows any more about that type of stuff, I'd be really interested and hearing about it if it works for them. I think it's like crystal healing or something like that. But anyways, I'm going to end this video here. I'm sure I forgot to mention some things or talk about more things, but I just wanted to do like, I don't know, somewhat of a history on like how my anxiety was and how I got to the point where it is now, and how I understand anyone who's going through this. And if anybody would want to talk about it, like just message me and we can talk, because I can totally relate to what you're going through, and I feel horrible that others are dealing with this also, but it also makes me feel like I'm not alone when I felt so alone for such a long time going through this. So thank you guys for watching. Stay dark, my friends. Not too dark so that you're depressed, but you know what I'm saying. And, you know, like I said, I really care about you guys. I love that you guys, you know, are committed to watching my videos, and those who do comment. It really means a lot to me. So, yeah, I don't know. Until next time.